Good day, Dr. Hasmita and my fellow classmate. My name is Tan Jiamin and I'm from Group 3. My group mates are Ko Zhen Yi, Loy Pei Ling, Ng Ke Ching and Chong Yu Jing. Our name and student ID are also stated below. We have been assigned to case study number 3, where the title of the case is How Will the Age of Big Data Affect Management? This article discusses the challenges that big data poses to management in the age of big data, where internet users can access world information and are exposed to seemingly endless flood of data, amongst others, making a correct and efficient decision by analyzing and identifying the relevant data. The article raises the concern of analysis paralysis due to big data and is stated that it is the analytics and not the data that forms the competitive advantage of an organization. As an introduction, we would like to bring your attention to the definition of big data. According to Gartner, big data is high volume, high velocity, and high variety information assets that demand cost-effective, innovative forms of information processing for enhanced insights and decision making. This definition links us to the characteristic of big data. It was noted that big data have 5 main characteristics, and they are volume, variety, velocity, veracity, and value. It means that big data has an enormous amount of data coming in different types and formats, accumulated and need to be analyzed at high speed, and it was required that the data must be reliable and accurate to derive valuable information from it. This data mainly come from 3 sources, namely social platform machineries and transactions. These data are to be analyzed through big data analytics or can be used with data mining to find hidden patterns, market trends, and make predictions. It brings many benefits. For instance, it allows business to understand the customer, target them accordingly, optimize process, and improve business performance. In addition, analysis of this data allows companies to innovate new products, services, and even improve their business model. Big data is applied in various industries such as manufacturing, healthcare, retail, education, and even in the government sector. However, challenges associated with this benefit as well. From the perspective of technology, it was noted that technology must improve to handle the enormous size of data in a faster and more reliable manner. From a social perspective, it is necessary to ensure the security of the data. From a business and management perspective, an organization must filter and choose the relevant information. Studies have shown that only 48.4% of business manage to obtain benefit from big data. It's because they fail to extract the valuable and relevant data from it. As a result, they face the issue of analysis paralysis, where it will be discussed further by my group mates. That's all for my part. I'll now pass the floor to my group mates.
I'm Chong Yu Jing, and I'll be discussing the main issue of this case study. The main issue raised in the case study is whether big data causes analysis paralysis, and the answer to that is in the affirmative. The main purpose and objective of big data are to shorten the time of decision making and to assist in arriving at an informed decision, which is done by supplying a large amount of data and a wide variety of data to be taken into consideration. The sheer amount of data collected from the technology of big data is also its advantage, strategic decision making, such as deciding the next product to be developed or switching to a new marketing strategy. However, the advantage of big data is a double-edged sword. A large amount of data poses a hindrance to the decision-making process, where it weighs down the process and increases friction due to the large amount of data to be considered, hence causing analysis paralysis. This disadvantage of analysis paralysis shakes the core of data and frustrates the fundamental aim of big data. Other than that, there are also minor issues to be addressed from this case study, such as the relevance of data collected, accuracy of data collected, and the problem with analyzing the data output from big data. However, we disagree with the view of the case study that big data is simply ineffective due to its downside. Therefore, the main issue of this assignment is whether analysis paralysis as a consequence of big data can be solved using the principles of knowledge management, and how can knowledge management improve decision making using big data. In what way does big data relate to knowledge management? Knowledge management is the process of collecting, creating, storing, sharing, and disseminating information and knowledge within an organization. The principles of knowledge management spans across a wide range of disciplines such as cognitive science, organizational science, information and library science, semantic networks, decision support systems, and more. Knowledge management deals with data, information, and knowledge. Data collected in its rawest form by big data must be processed and analyzed for it to turn into meaningful information and actionable knowledge, for it to be implemented into the real world. In order to do so, various knowledge management cycles and models are required to illustrate the important processes and frameworks of applying knowledge management to the utilization of big data. Moreover, the case study also mentioned the shortage of data analysts and data scientists in the field, hence slowing down the process of big data and the analysis of these data. Hence, knowledge management is required to retain these expert knowledge in the organization, even if these experts leave the organization, which is especially prevalent in Silicon Valley, the headquarters of tech companies of the world.
As identified, the main issue in the case study is that big data might cause analysis paralysis. Our group disagrees with the negative standpoint, as we believe that big data is a source of competitive advantage to the company, provided that human knowledge is embedded to it during decision making. Pauline and Wang said that without knowledge, the potential of big data cannot be unleashed. Real brands like Amazon and Netflix have already been using big data to improve customer experience through customization. That way, not only do customers feel that their needs are heard and prioritized, but companies will also see an increase in total revenue, customer retention rate, and high percentages of return on investment. All this success is owed to harnessing data and transforming that into actionable insights. This mimics the process of knowledge application in the integrated KM cycle, where knowledge retrieved is processed to the likes of the knowledge worker to solve the problem faced. According to Thomas and Chopra, big data is the prime contributor to businesses because insane amounts of data are generated each day. Thanks to the increase of smartphone users, 18.7 billion text messages are sent every 24 hours across the globe, and it was estimated that by 2025, there will be 175 zettabytes of data in the global digital space. This wealth of data has caused tech giants to switch to big data systems that has the monumental capacity of processing and storing large data sets because of its volume. Big data collects mere digital data or information and not knowledge. The capturing of this data is similar to that in the build stage of the FBKM cycle. Due to the variety of big data, it can be unstructured, semi-structured, or structured. Therefore, there has to be experts to analyze the different forms of data collected before it is reconstructed and synthesized. From this, data will be processed into information for codification in a presentable manner for output. This collection of data builds the knowledge repository in the organization that will be used later on to make decisions. The case study questions the usefulness of big data to the management. The answer lies in the veracity of big data, which refers to the accuracy of data in light of organizational objectives, and also whether the data comes from a trustworthy source. To avoid analysis paralysis, companies employ data processor and analytical tools like Apache Hadoop and Python to validate and explain the data collected. In relation to knowledge management, the concept behind veracity in big data mirrors the garbage in, garbage out approach that takes place during the acquisition stage in Zach and Mayer's KM cycle. Raw data collected will be filtered and only valuable data will be kept for further refinement. Similarly, the concept of veracity in big data can also be seen in the process of divesting knowledge under the strategic dimension in the Bukowitz and Williams KM cycle. Here, it requires the organization to let go of intellectual capital that no longer creates value because the cost of continuing to possess it outweighs its benefit. As knowledge is power, data on the other hand is an asset whose value is limitless to any organization. Companies must have strategies to capture data that brings value to the business. Only valuable data is mined for information with big data analytic tools like Hive and SAS, or data analysts who are big data experts. Thus, the value of big data is uncovered through the interaction between explicit data and tacit knowledge from data analysts. Integration of people aspects of knowledge management in big data is related to communities of practice. Similar to data analysts, communities of practice refer to a peer group comprising of experts of the profession who engages in collective learning with others in the company. The sharing and imparting of tacit knowledge can be related to the socialization quadrant in the Sekai model. With regards to big data, explicit knowledge that is directly retrieved from the knowledge repository for consultation with communities of practice started out as valuable data captured by the company's big data system. All in all, our group has chosen to disagree with the author's standpoint because it is evidence that big data is revolutionary if utilized side by side with knowledge management to bring organizations a competitive advantage through the making of timely decisions.
Analytics is supposed to help in making better decisions, but it may potentially do harm. One of the most prevalent consequences is analysis paralysis, which occurs when a person becomes unable to act because they are lost in the process of analyzing and accessing the data needed to make a decision. Hence, recommendations and suggestions would be given to overcome paralysis analysis. Firstly, analysis paralysis occurs when the organization isn't very effective at leveraging analytics to make better decisions. The root of solution to this technical cause of analysis paralysis is by recognizing the company requires managerial talent to utilize analytics, but not merely mathematical skill. Hence, it is important to invest in or build a software and bring in a knowledge management professional to scope goals and provide recommendations on what solution is required. It is crucial to hire a knowledge management professional with the credibility, interpersonal skills, and strategic mindset to guarantee that consumers actively engage in knowledge management projects. Secondly, another challenge is to maintain the accuracy of the data and knowledge. To solve this issue, tools should be applied to check the accuracy of data, and checkups should be performed on a regular basis by human team members. In order to maintain the accuracy of data, it is important to identify and prioritize knowledge management technical support based on program goals. With the help of the tools, organizations could have easily evaluated the cost and benefit of each sort of technology and determine how each solution might assist or obstruct an organization in achieving goals. Thirdly, managers' hesitancy to make decisions causes analysis paralysis. Besides, as a big data has resulted in entire departments devoted to data mining, interpretation, and analysis, and as a result, decision paralysis while the data are analyzed. Techniques that can shift organization culture from decision avoidance and delays to exciting and innovative progress is much needed to overcome this challenge. This can be achieved by moving from big data to discrete, actionable goals. It is crucial to track the outcomes of decisions just as it is with key performance indicators. However, the process of obtaining data paralyzes action frequently. Hence, it is advised that an organization may set up action-focused teams to deal with specific problems separately instead of facing the problems simultaneously. Fourthly, as the amount of data being collected in data centers and company databases is consistently expanding, one of the most critical big data concerns includes properly achieving all of these massive volumes of data. The majority of data is unorganized and originates from a variety of sources, and hence it cannot be found in databases. Regarding to this issue, companies could save and manage data in different storage tiers via data tiering. It helps to guarantee that the data of the organization is stored in the most appropriate storage space depending on the size and value of data. Data tiers could include but not limited to public cloud, private cloud, and flash storage. Last but not least, as mentioned in the above discussion, technologies may help to solve analysis paralysis. The question of which is the best technology for data analytics and storage bothers organizations, and they might not be able to find an answer. Regarding this issue, the organization is recommended to seek advice from experienced professionals. This aims to prevent the organization from making poor decisions and ending up selecting an inappropriate technology. Advisors would offer guidance for the finest tools based on the organization's situation.
From the above detailed discussions, we can see that a strong linkage between big data and knowledge management form. Organizations and all of us will benefit as long as we utilize it properly, since we live in the era of big data today. We can see that our federal government's My Sejahtera app collected data of 32 million Malaysians. Those data are only extracted by Malaysian analytics company to conduct contact tracing activities when there is a positive COVID-19 case. Moreover, Mark Zuckerberg recently announced his vision of metaverse, telling us that people can access to a digital universe parallel with our current physical world in the future by using VR technologies. Marcus Carter commented that huge amounts of data are essential for metaverse technologies, and relevant data will become fingerprints to identify all of us in the future VR environment. Therefore, we disagree with the saying of Scott Muller, the age of big data seems to be arriving at the time of death for the big thinker in the case studies. This is because
Big data can let the Malaysian government to solve the tracking problem during this pandemic and even spark people's creative thinking like the idea of metaverse. In conclusion, carrying out the knowledge management system is a key for success of organizations because it can avoid analysis paralysis, identify which data are relevant to their goals, achieve specific business priorities, and sustain competitive advantage. That's all for our presentation. Thank you.